Hi, I'm just going to talk a little bit about constructivist teaching today. What is constructivist teaching, you might ask? It's an approach to teaching that is different from the traditional method. You may call it revolutionary. It is designed to be less stressful on students. It allows students to construct knowledge in their mind instead of just being fed knowledge by a teacher. It gets students actively engaged in learning. Foundational theorists behind it are John Dewey with his idea of progressivism, which is a student-centered approach that considers student needs and states the need to expand our horizons and progress through life to become competent adults. Jean Piaget with his cognitive development theory, which states that as we progress through different stages of childhood, which is childhood and adolescence, even the toddler years before, that we process info in different ways. And it is crucial to consider this fact. And these were the first to think about this idea, but there's been more research done to support this. How does constructivism differ from traditional ideas about teaching and learning? It is more easy on the brain because, instead of being bombarded with the info, you're asked questions and given an opportunity to think about it in your own way. And it allows students to question things so they can look at concepts in different perspectives, not just one narrow-minded way. It encourages active engagement in learning and gets students excited about doing group work. Components of constructivist teaching. The curriculum, it may be more activity-based, may give questions for students to think about instead of just a study guide with words and meanings to cram in and memorize. It may be more structured than a traditional classroom with more writing assignments. Are students viewed? More viewed as individuals than as a group, since the students will present more of their own ideas instead of writing down a specific answer. More praise for merit, because once they get a concept, it will mean more to them because they made sense of the concept themselves. More responsible for their work because they didn't just memorize a study sheet, they had to think about the questions. How students work. They are asked questions by either by themselves or in a group, think about them and its meaning. They actively participate in discussion with other students and even work in groups. They are constantly given feedback from their teacher and are asked multiple questions, like the Socratic method, until they master a concept so that they arrive at the correct answer themselves. The teacher's role. More of a guide to the answer than a giver of answers. More of an encourager to think about the question than just look at it in a narrow view. More of a facilitator of learning instead of someone drilling the concept into the students' heads by memorization. Assessment, it's more informal assessments such as portfolios and feedback given. Tests are likely going to be more non-normative and more personal, not just a snapshot of what has been learned by just bubbling in answers on a test scantron. They may be given in the form of an essay or a project and will tell more about what a student knows than a normative test does. Most likely to stress students out because they won't think of it as an exam. The PRAR model of learning. It is called the Peer Assistance and Review model of learning. It allows for group work for students to think together about questions the teacher gives them. It relates to constructivism because it is the same idea, only students come together to think instead of a teacher giving them individual feedback. It allows for more help and assistance to students from other students. Something that can be a lesson that can be done using constructivism, a scenario of using constructivism would be like research of historical figures and events. Students would be put into groups and do an assignment on the event or person and would be called upon to show their work. Students would help other students grasp the concept with assistance by the teacher with the correct feedback. Students would then be assigned more questions to think about the event or person and would do this for homework. A test will be given to test knowledge. And that's all I have to say about constructivism. Good night.